Okay, so you sent over this article about Tesla's future, and, well, Elon Musk is at it again,
Yeah.
saying the company could be worth 10 times what it is today.
Wow.
That's
That's a lot.
that's a bold claim even for him.
It certainly is. The article, it's from the Motley Fool, and it
Okay.
dives into Musk's prediction that he made during Tesla's recent earnings call. And he basically said that Tesla could become the world's most valuable company.
Really?
Yeah, surpassing the combined value of like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, all those giants.
I mean, that's not just about being the biggest fish. That's about, like, creating a whole new ocean, right?
Right.
Because the combined market cap of those companies, we're talking, like, almost $15 trillion.
Yeah.
What makes Musk think Tesla can reach those astronomical heights?
Well, his logic really hinges on this idea of what he calls a robotaxi revolution.
Okay.
He believes that a fully autonomous ride-sharing network is really the key to unlocking this massive growth.
Okay, so we've all heard about self-driving cars. But how does a fleet of robotaxis translate into a $15 trillion valuation?
Well, Musk argues that, right, a typical car today sits idle for most of the day. It's only used for maybe like 10 hours a week.
Right.
But a network of shared autonomous vehicles could be on the road constantly.
Oh, wow.
Potentially bumping that usage up to like 50 to 55 hours a week.
So instead of, like, individual car ownership, we're talking about a world where cars are constantly circulating, like picking up passengers, dropping them off.
Exactly. And the value lies in that constant utilization. Musk even called this shift the largest asset value in human history. Now, whether that's hyperbole or not, it's a pretty compelling vision.
It is compelling. But hold on, though. Isn't Tesla a car manufacturer?
Yeah.
Are you saying that they would just suddenly become a transportation network, like managing this massive fleet of robotaxis? That seems like a huge leap.
It would be a significant shift, no doubt. They would need to build and manage this really complex network. Handle everything from like ride dispatching, charging infrastructure, maintenance, customer service.
It's like Uber.
It's like Uber.
But they own the cars.
But they own the entire ecosystem. Yeah.
And that's where the comparison with Uber comes in, right?
Exactly.
The article mentions Uber's business model as a potential, like, benchmark for Tesla's robotaxi ambitions.
Right. Uber's on track for about $160 billion in gross bookings this year. And that's the total amount that customers spend on rides.
Okay.
But Uber only keeps a portion of that, right? They share a significant chunk with drivers.
Right.
Musk's vision for Tesla is to capture all of that revenue
With no drivers.
with their own fleet of robotaxis and no drivers.
Okay, I see where he's going with this. No
Sure.
drivers to pay. They keep all the fares.
Right.
But wouldn't operating this massive network come with its own costs?
Okay. Of course. The article does mention that there would be increased operating costs to support this whole robotaxi network. However, they estimate that Tesla could see an additional $80 billion in operating income.
$80 billion.
Yeah, with potential software-like profit margins of around 80%.
So that's almost 10 times their current operating income.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Even with those projected earnings, doesn't a $15 trillion valuation seem a bit outlandish?
It's definitely a gamble. The article acknowledges that even with those earnings, a $15 trillion valuation would mean a very high price-to-earnings ratio.
Price to earnings.
Yeah, or PE for short.
Okay.
And essentially, this ratio compares a company's stock price to its earnings per share.
Okay, so a high PE ratio means that investors are betting on, like, massive future growth, right?
Exactly. Tesla is currently trading at a similar high PE ratio because of all the hype around autonomy, but it's based on the assumption that they'll achieve this ambitious robotaxi vision.
It seems like there's a lot of ifs involved, right?
Yeah.
Can they actually achieve full self-driving? Can they build and manage this complex network?
Mm-hmm.
Will regulations and public acceptance even allow for widespread robotaxi adoption?
Those are all the key questions.
Yeah.
Musk's 10x prediction hinges on a lot of things going perfectly for Tesla.
Right.
And let's not forget the competition.
Oh, yeah. Other companies are pouring billions into autonomy.
Exactly.
Can Tesla really maintain a dominant position?
It's going to be tough.
So it sounds like this 10x prediction is more of a long shot than a sure bet.
I would say so.
But even if it doesn't pan out exactly as Musk envisions, the potential disruption of robotaxis is still pretty mind-blowing.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine a world where cars are constantly in use, potentially freeing up massive amounts of space currently dedicated to parking.
That's true.
It could revolutionize urban planning.
But wouldn't there be downsides to that as well?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what about the potential downsides to such a drastic increase in car usage?
Yeah.
What about the impact on industries that rely on traditional car ownership?
Yeah, those are all crucial points to consider. And we'll delve into those further as we continue our deep dive.
Okay, so we've established that Musk's vision is bold, to say the least. Let's move on to the next question. Can Tesla actually pull this off from a technological standpoint?
Yeah, let's get into that. When we talk about Tesla pulling this off, we have to remember that we're not just talking about building a better car.
Right. It's not like they're just slapping some extra sensors and software onto their existing models and calling it a day.
Exactly. This is about creating like a completely new transportation ecosystem.
Right.
They're essentially aiming to become like a tech company on par with Google or Apple, but in the realm of transportation.
Speaking of Google and Apple, what about the competition? Aren't those tech giants already pouring resources into autonomous vehicles?
Absolutely. We're seeing like major players across the tech and automotive industries investing heavily in self-driving technology. It's unlikely that any one company will completely dominate this space.
So even if Tesla nails the technology, they're still going to be facing a fierce battle for market share.
Right. And that competition could definitely impact their ability to reach those astronomical valuations that Musk is talking about.
Okay, so competition is one factor. But let's focus on the technology itself for a moment. Full self-driving seems like something out of science fiction.
Yeah.
How close are we really to seeing robotaxis on every street corner?
Well, it's important to remember that there are different levels of autonomy.
Right.
And achieving true level 5 autonomy, where the car can handle any situation without human intervention, is incredibly complex.
I remember reading about those different levels. Level 5 is like the holy grail, right?
Yeah.
Where the car is basically a chauffeur that never gets tired or asks for directions.
Exactly. But right now, most self-driving systems are still at level 2 or 3.
Okay.
They can assist with things like lane keeping or adaptive cruise control.
Right.
But a human driver still needs to be ready to take over at any moment.
So we're still a ways off from seeing robotaxis zipping around without anyone behind the wheel.
Yes. And there are significant hurdles to overcome. For example, self-driving systems need to be able to perceive and interpret their surroundings in all kinds of weather and traffic conditions,
Right.
make split-second decisions in complex situations,
Okay.
and interact safely with pedestrians, cyclists, other vehicles.
So it's like trying to replicate human intuition and judgment in a machine.
Yeah, it's a monumental task.
Okay.
And then there's the issue of testing and validating these systems.
Right.
We're talking about millions of miles of driving in all sorts of conditions to make sure that they're truly safe and reliable.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It's a huge undertaking, to say the least. And even when the technology is mature, there's the human element to consider.
Right.
Public acceptance is crucial for widespread adoption.
Yeah, you're right. Imagine the headlines if a robotaxi was involved in like a fatal accident.
Exactly.
Could that kind of incident set the whole industry back years?
It's definitely a concern. Building trust in autonomous vehicles will be essential.
And then there's the potential impact on employment.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
What happens to all the taxi and rideshare drivers if robotaxis take over?
It's a valid concern. Technological advancements often lead to job displacement. So how do we manage that transition fairly?
It's a complex issue with no easy answers. It'll require thoughtful planning and policy solutions to address the potential, like, economic and social consequences.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've talked about the technological and societal challenges. Let's shift gears and talk about the potential impact on our cities. I mean, if robotaxis become commonplace, it seems like it would fundamentally change the way our cities are designed and function.
You're absolutely right. One of the most significant potential impacts is on parking.
Parking.
Yeah, think about how much space in our cities is dedicated to parking lots and garages.
It's crazy when you think about it. We've essentially surrendered vast swaths of valuable urban real estate to store our cars.
Exactly. If the significant portion of the population no longer needs to own a car because they can summon a robotaxi on demand, all that parking space could be repurposed.
Wow. So instead of concrete jungles, we could have more green spaces, parks, affordable housing, or even entirely new types of businesses and community hubs.
Precisely.
Hmm.
It could revolutionize urban planning. We could create more walkable, livable, and sustainable cities.
That sounds pretty utopian. But wouldn't there be downsides to this shift as well?
Of course, it's not all roses. There are potential concerns about increased traffic congestion if people start taking more trips because robotaxis are so convenient and affordable.
The law of unintended consequences.
Yeah.
We make something more efficient and people just use it more.
Right. There's also the potential for increased energy consumption, even if those robotaxis are electric.
Right.
We need to think about the environmental impact as well.
So it sounds like there are trade-offs to consider.
Yeah.
A more efficient transportation, but potentially more traffic and energy consumption. It's a complex equation.
It is, and it highlights the need for a holistic approach to transportation planning. We can't just focus on the technology itself. We need to consider the broader societal and environmental implications.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential impact on cities, but what about the way we live our lives?
Yeah.
How might robotaxis change our daily routines and social interactions?
That's a fascinating question. On the one hand, robotaxis could free up a lot of time and mental energy that we currently spend driving.
Right.
Imagine being able to relax, read a book, or catch up on work during your commute instead of being stuck behind the wheel.
It sounds like a dream come true for commuters.
Mm-hmm.
No more road rage, no more searching for parking.
Exactly. But there's a flip side to that convenience.
What's that?
If people are spending more time in their own private robotaxis, they might have fewer opportunities for chance encounters or spontaneous interactions with others.
So it could lead to more social isolation. That's an interesting paradox.
Mm.
We're more connected than ever through technology, yet we could become increasingly isolated in our physical lives.
Yeah, it's a potential consequence we need to be mindful of.
Right.
And it raises questions about how we design these robotaxis and the spaces around them. Can we create environments that encourage interaction and community building, even in a world of autonomous transportation?
It sounds like we're just scratching the surface of the potential societal and cultural implications of robotaxis. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about how this technology reshapes our relationship with transportation and with each other.
Precisely. And it highlights the need for a broader conversation about the kind of future we want to create with this technology. It's not just about the technical feasibility, it's about the values and priorities we want to embed in our transportation systems.
Okay, so we've explored the potential impacts on cities, lifestyles, and social interactions. But I think there's another crucial aspect we need to discuss: the economics of it all. Who's going to benefit from this robotaxi revolution?
That's a key question. And it brings us back to the issue of Tesla's ambitions. Can they actually achieve their goal of becoming the dominant player in this new transportation landscape?
And if they do, what does that mean for the rest of us? Will we all be paying Elon Musk for our daily commutes?
Well, let's not jump to conclusions. There's a lot that needs to happen before we get to that point.
Right. And it's not just about Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Other companies, including those tech giants we mentioned earlier, are vying for a piece of the robotaxi pie.
Exactly. It's going to be a fiercely competitive market, and it's too early to predict who will emerge as the winners and losers.
Okay, so let's break down the economics of this.
Hmm.
How does Tesla's vision of a robotaxi network actually translate into profits? And who stands to gain the most from this potential shift in the transportation landscape? So we're just discussing the economics of this whole robotaxi revolution. And to be honest, my head is spinning a bit.
Yeah.
We've got these technological hurdles, the societal impacts, potential job displacement. It's a lot to process.
It really is. And, in the midst of all that, it's easy to get caught up in all the hype and maybe overlook some crucial questions.
Like what?
Like, who actually benefits from this shift in transportation?
Right.
Is this actually going to be a more equitable system, or will it just exacerbate, existing inequalities?
That's a great point. We've talked about the potential for, Tesla to make massive profits.
Yeah.
But what about the average person?
Yeah.
Will robotaxis be affordable for everyone, or will they become a luxury only accessible to the wealthy?
That's the million-dollar question. And it'll largely depend on how these services are priced and regulated.
Okay.
If robotaxis do become significantly cheaper than traditional taxis or even ride-sharing services, they could potentially make transportation more accessible for people who currently rely on public transit or just can't afford to own a car.
So there's a possibility that robotaxis could actually level the playing field in terms of transportation access.
Potentially, yes, but there's also a risk that they could create like a two-tiered system.
Right.
Where those who can't afford it, enjoy the convenience and the efficiency of on-demand robotaxis, while those who can't are left with less desirable options.
It's like the digital divide, but with transportation. We need to be mindful of those potential disparities and ensure that everyone has access to safe, reliable, and affordable transportation, regardless of, their income level.
Absolutely, and that's where regulation comes in.
Okay.
Governments are going to play a critical role in shaping the development and deployment of robotaxi services. They'll need to establish, safety standards, address liability issues, and potentially implement policies to promote affordability and accessibility.
It sounds like there's a lot for policymakers to consider.
Oh, yeah, a lot to think about.
It's not just about, green lighting the technology. It's about ensuring that it serves the needs of the entire community.
Right. And they'll also need to think about the broader economic impact.
Okay.
What happens to the existing transportation workforce as robotaxis become more prevalent? How do we support those workers who might be displaced by this technology?
That's a tough one. We've seen similar challenges with automation in other industries.
Yeah.
It's not easy to retrain and reskill workers who have spent their entire careers in jobs that are suddenly becoming obsolete.
It's a complex issue, and it will require, creative solutions and collaboration between governments, businesses, educational institutions to make sure there's a smooth transition for those affected workers.
Okay, so we've talked about accessibility regulation and the potential impact on the workforce, but I think there's another layer to this that we haven't touched on yet, the ethical implications.
Ah, yes. The philosophical dilemmas of artificial intelligence.
Right.
It wouldn't be a deep dive into autonomous vehicles without exploring those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're essentially talking about putting machines in charge of our safety on the road.
Right.
How do we ensure that these robotaxis make ethical decisions in complex situations?
That's a key question, and it ties into the challenge of programming morality into algorithms.
Wow.
For example, imagine a scenario where a robotaxi is faced with an unavoidable accident.
Okay.
How does it decide who or what to harm?
Right.
Does it swerve to avoid hitting a group of pedestrians, even if it means hitting a single person on the sidewalk? What if it's a child versus an adult?
Ooh, those are tough choices. Even humans struggle with those kinds of moral dilemmas.
Exactly, and we're asking machines to make those decisions in a split second.
Yeah.
It's a daunting challenge, and there's no easy answer.
It's not just about those extreme cases either.
Right?
There are also more subtle ethical considerations like data privacy.
Yeah.
Robotaxis will be collecting vast amounts of data about our movements, our destinations, our habits. Who owns that data? How is it being used?
That's a critical point.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that appropriate safeguards are in place to protect our privacy and prevent that data from being misused. Transparency and accountability will be essential.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored the potential benefits and challenges of robotaxis, the technological and regulatory hurdles, the economic and societal implications, and the ethical questions they raise.
It's a lie.
What's the main takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as we venture into this uncharted territory?
I think the key message is that the robotaxi revolution isn't just a technological inevitability. It's a societal transformation that will require careful consideration, planning, and ongoing dialogue to make sure that it benefits everyone and aligns with our values.
So we can't just passively accept whatever technological innovations come our way.
Right.
We need to actively shape the future we want.
Exactly. And that means asking tough questions, engaging in thoughtful discussions, and advocating for policies that prioritize safety, equity, and sustainability.
So it's not just about whether robotaxis are cool or convenient.
Right.
It's about what kind of world we want to create with this technology.
Precisely. And it's a conversation that we all need to be a part of.
Well said. This has been a fascinating and thought-provoking deep dive. I think we've all learned a lot about the complexities of this issue.
I agree. It's a topic that will continue to evolve and unfold in the years to come. And as always, the more informed we are, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this exciting and uncertain future.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of robotaxis. And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Until next time.